Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary, Ashton. And this is our Friday night Smackdown review. And I gotta say, guys, it's the post-Elimination Chamber Smackdown. Fastlane's March 21st. We know WrestleMania, obviously, is after that. Fastlane's the last pit stop before another two-night WrestleMania. Looking forward to Fastlane. Some interesting pieces are in play here, particularly as it relates to the Universal Championship. And I like how SmackDown ended in the sense that we're not guaranteed a Universal Championship match at Fastlane, I don't think, with how SmackDown ended. And as far as everything else in the mid-card, we've got some hot mid-card acts. One that I like more and more each and every week. I think the women's division, particularly the women's tag division, could use a bit of work. But the women's division, as far as Bianca Belair, we have our SmackDown Women's Championship match official. Sasha Banks will be defending against Bianca Belair. I wish I could be more excited about it. Maybe we'll get into that in our first segment. But overall, I'd say I enjoyed this episode of SmackDown. I'll put it to you guys this way. Given that we only ever really actively pay attention to NXT and SmackDown, I enjoyed SmackDown a lot more compared to NXT this week. How'd you feel about it, Ashton?
That sentiment I do agree with. But, it was a good episode overall, I would say. I think there was more on this that I liked than there was that I disliked. But there was definitely some stuff that pissed me off. So let's get into our first segment.
All right, first segment, heat of the night. And I don't, because I have like two nitpicks. Again, I call these nitpicks because I don't really know if there's been anything for a minute that's made me like violently angry, you know? But loving Apollo Crews, that was the gimmick I was referring to, that I'm liking it more and more each week. I actually enjoyed his promo tonight. I enjoyed that he broke down the colors, of his scarf, and he's got a new aesthetic that actually means something. So, he's got backstory. He sounded confident enough on the mic. It's a new dimension from Apollo that I'm definitely embracing.
What'd you think of the accent towards the end of his promo before Nakamura came out?
I could take it or leave it, and honestly, I think if you were to press me, I'd say leave it, only because I liked Apollo just speaking kind of as himself about his ancestry, because I think he even made it seem like, oh, this is me impersonating my great-grandfather, when it's like, no, you can take pride in it without trying to be it so hard, because again, I love the aesthetic and everything else. That might have been a bit much for me. I'm curious what your thoughts were on it.
We'll talk about it in this segment.
But where my nitpick comes in personally, and really it has more to do with Nakamura. I just hate that Nakamura's in this spot. Like, I just can't let go of the fact, and that's why I'm going to be very quick about it. I've already aired this complaint before on the podcast, and we said we weren't going to be redundant. He had the great gauntlet match performance, and mainly just the story in the gauntlet match of Roman explicitly screwing him over. And already he's losing matches to Apollo Crews. So, and even I think what makes the salt even more in the wound, so to speak, is that commentary even mentioned how Nakamura's been having kind of a renaissance, resurgence. It's kind of like a return to the King of Strong style. Well, it's definitely a return to something because he's already eating pins again. So I hate that Nakamura's in this spot. But since we're talking about this segment, do you have anything you want to share?
Yeah. I don't even know what to call this, whether I would call it a nitpick or heat of the night or what. But I don't know. There's something off about this new Apollo character that I can't get behind. And how do I put this? So, okay, we can agree that he's definitely heel, right?
Yes, for sure.
Okay. Why is... Oh, God. This is a really, really touchy subject. Okay. WWE has never had an African gimmick done by an actual African before. Ever.
Okay.
And now they get one and they make him a heel immediately.
Yeah. Wow. We're really going to talk about this. It's weird, right? Because, like, I didn't even think about it in that way. I actually kind of looked at it more, for me personally, and again, it's weird for like two white guys to talk about it because I wonder what black wrestling fans legitimately what they would think about this.
Well, I know I saw a couple conversations on Twitter. This idea of a real African American is like a touchy subject for some people as well, and like it's. Let me just put it this way, so that we don't have to get too deep into the weeds on this.
Yeah.
I don't trust WWE to handle this character anywhere close to as well as it needs to be handled, because this is a genuinely sensitive subject for a lot of people, and they do not understand it at all.
I mean, I don't even understand. Like, I don't understand it probably to the level that I should have to talk about it. I almost wonder if they're going to keep it to the surface. And what I mean by that, and I'm going to try and be very careful here, he's mentioned the lineage. And from that lineage, he derives a lot of pride, and maybe some would say because he's a heel, excessive pride and arrogance. And maybe they're just going to keep it very surface level. Yeah, and there you see Foster. He said the second he said a real African-American, I thought, oh, dear. I can definitely see. Yeah. I know that word's kind of become a buzzword, but legitimately I can see how that's problematic, right? When you look at, the history and how loaded of a term that is. And, we've talked about before in Q&As, like colonialism and imperialism and all that stuff. And, like, that to me kind of feeds into that. So, because initially, I am glad you brought this up, but it's funny because initially I'm like, wow, I actually like that this is another, like, unapologetically black gimmick, but they are doing it kind of heel, because I feel like we do.
Dude, that's pretty much where I am. Is like, you're right. It isn't an unapologetically black character. He is a legitimate African. He is like his parents came over from Africa. He was born in California, but his parents were from Africa, legitimately. And like, there's genuine opportunity for very positive representation here, and they choose to have him be a heel. That's the thing that struck me, is like, especially when he was doing the accent, I was like, holy fuck, this dude could be a fucking, like, Chadwick Boseman level icon. And they're like, oh no, he's a heel. He's a bad guy, actually.
Okay, because I could tell, like, how we're both trying to be very, exercise trepidation having this conversation. Can I ask you something in good faith?
Yeah.
We have a character like Bianca Belair, who I think is also unapologetically black, but she is a babyface. So doesn't that lessen kind of the blow of just, oh, you've got something like this and you make it a heel? Or do you think there are differences there that maybe I'm neglecting?
Dude, at the same time, though, like, God.
Do you see where I'm coming from, though? Like, I don't know.
I think the whole unapologetically black thing is kind of where I'm confused, because to me, it's more about Apollo has legitimate African lineage as recently as the previous generation of his family. And, like, I don't know. It's WWE doesn't employ people who have that very often. And it's just a shame to me that they have one here, and he's immediately like, oh, he's a heel now.
Yeah. I mean,
it's
again,
like, to me, it's to me, really, I think that if he was going to be heel, he definitely could have embraced, like, the arrogance and, like, you don't disrespect me and stuff, but maybe, like, he keeps the rest of the stuff to himself. And then when they're ready to turn him face, be like, I have legitimate African ancestry. I'm embracing my African ancestry. You get the palette change with the fucking Nigerian colors and shit and all that. That's a babyface gimmick to me, not a heel gimmick.
I can understand that.
Like, it's weird. It's like, it's here. Maybe this is a better way to describe it. We've had plenty of foreign heels. There have been foreign heels from Russia, foreign heels from fucking everywhere almost, it seems like, right? There have been all kinds of foreign heels. But it's weird to me that we're doing the foreign heel from Africa, because, like, haven't we taken enough? Like, that's kind of like...
Yeah.
Really, Vince? Really?
Yeah. Focusing on Apollo individually, though, you seem to actually like when he did the accent. So did you like just everything Apollo as an individual?
I was like getting goosebumps because he's fucking good at it. You can tell he grew up in a family that spoke like that.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I I don't want to be reductive.
Genuinely, I got Black Panther vibes. Unironically.
Well, I'm so glad you said it. Because I'm like, I don't want to be reductive. Because, God, I'm really telling on myself about my cultural poverty here. But, like, yeah, I definitely got Black Panther vibes. I'm like, you could put him in the fucking movie. I'm like, I'd buy it. Like, because he has a great look. I think I'm happy for him personally, because, like, I'm just happy he has some kind of discernible character outside of, I'm so athletic and I'm so happy to be here. But, you know, having this conversation with you, which I didn't even think about again until I came on here, I can see why you and you know, certainly other people, and most importantly, you know, Black wrestling fans might be like, you really want to do this? Because, like, track record isn't great. Your track record isn't great. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how they handle it. But I just wanted to emphasize, just kind of bring it full circle and to kind of reset before handing the ball over to you. My nitpick was more about Shinsuke, because I hate that Shinsuke is just in this spot. I think he should be higher up on the card. What nitpicks in each of the night do you have?
My biggest heat of the night is you know, other than whatever the fuck we just talked about, because I really didn't know how to handle that. I don't even know if I would call that a heat of the night. But my definite, for sure, big heat of the night is Liv Morgan just gets squashed for no fucking reason. With no shenanigans. It's just a clean, Tamina is just a better fighter than you match.
God, you know... And that's where I say that the tag, because, you know, I even
had she even had, where there was even that moment where Tamina, like, punked out Ruby, and, like, Ruby flinched back, like, oh shit. So, like, I get that Tamina's supposed to be a monster, but isn't she, like, if she was that good at fighting and she's that dominant, why has she never held any titles? Like,
dude, yes.
There's such a disconnect between the way that they're trying to present her in this match and everything else that's ever been about her. And, like, I really feel like they did Liv so dirty here. And Ruby too, really, it was mostly Liv, like 80% Liv, 20% Ruby. But, like, Liv barely got any offense in, and she basically got squashed by Tamina. Like, how often, that's a genuine question, how often do we see main roster performers gets outright squashed by other main roster performers?
I don't think very often, but when
on the main roster, at least. Now, when I say main roster, just in case I need to clarify this, I'm talking SmackDown and Raw. And on one of those two brands, on either of those two brands, if there's a squash match, it's 99 times out of 100 against a local talent, or against, like, a designated job person, like you know, before he was a world champion, like a Jinder or like a Heath Slater, or, you know, we don't really have them anymore. It feels like you're much more likely to see local talents who don't really get highlighted, and they might not even get a name, getting squashed than anyone on the actual roster these days. And Liv just got what was the closest thing to a squash on Raw or SmackDown in probably years at this point.
And, you know, like, I made the aside in the intro that the women's tag division needs work. I
think that's putting it lightly, honestly.
Yeah, definitely. I don't want to come down too hard on Tamina personally. Again, it's just more the frustration with the company, because, look, let's look at Tamina's stats, okay? She's 43 years old. And she's the only accomplishment, I'm on her wiki now, her only accomplishment, championship-wise, in kayfabe, she's a former WWE 24/7 champion. And I even forgot that she held the damn thing. I've never known her to be good on the mic. I think I liked her very early on in her career, but they didn't do anything with that. I'm talking when she first came in with the fucking Usos and people like Beth Phoenix were women's champions. You know, and it's like, what she did in this match was solid. I'm not going to say, like, she did anything wrong or anything, but Liv, to me, is the hotter act. And, like, that's the thing. I don't even understand why anybody would be intimidated by Tamina, because you just said it. She's not a former women's champion. She's never had any standout performance, saying, like, a Royal Rumble or an Elimination Chamber or whatever. Like what? Because she's just physically imposing? But when you look at the lack of accomplishments, it's like, oh, well, she can't even be that bad that way, because clearly champions have been able to keep her at bay. Yeah. And clearly, like, upper card people have been able to keep her at bay. So I can do it too. I just feel like Liv is the hotter act, or at least she should be. I don't even know if she's
That's the thing, dude. It's actually crazy to me how much WWE's missing the boat with the Riot Squad right now, because I mean, Ruby is, just looking at Raw and SmackDown, one of your top 4 maybe in-ring workers, maybe at least top 5 at worst. Like I would say Sasha, Bayley, Asuka, and then it's like, who else do you put above Ruby other than those 3?
Yeah.
I mean, especially with Becky not even being around right now, so we can't include her. Like, to me, that, like, it really does come down to Ruby is number 4 on that list of in-ring competitors on the main roster, especially because Ember moved down. Now I would put Ember above Ruby, but she's not around anymore. She's in NXT. So, like, how, and she's got this amazing, unique look that makes her stand out in a crowd, and she can talk. And then you've got Liv, who I literally went out of my way to praise last week. I was like, guys, we need to start paying attention to Liv Morgan. She's actually just really good. Like, she's just gotten good. She can talk too. She's got an amazing look too. I mean, dude, if they presented her the way that they presented Alexa, she would be doing so much better than Alexa has ever done. She's literally just more talented than Alexa Bliss in every way. And I think a lot of people would say that she's got a better look than Bliss too. Which, like,
yeah, for sure.
Bliss's look is all she's got going for her. That's like 98% of her appeal. And Liv, I think a lot of people, I'm not saying it's objective by any means, because there's no such thing as thinking that somebody has a good look objectively. But, like, I think a lot of people would agree that Liv has a better look than Alexa. And, like, they're just not doing anything with her. It blows my mind that Vince has a genuinely talented, cute, blonde girl from the USA, and he's doing nothing with her except having her job to Tamina? What?
Dude, it really is a shame. Because, like, it's poetic, too, in a way, because both of these women have had start and stop pushes. Because I feel like, you know, they look like they're getting ready to do something with Liv. You know, they have her look like, you know, fucking Black Cat from the Spider-Man comics. Goes nowhere. Then they have her with just the cringe Rusev and Lana shit. Don't remember it going anywhere.
Oh yeah, remember Liv was at least bisexual at that point. I don't know what the hell's going on now.
Yeah, exactly. Fucking then her and Ruby reconcile, you know, after she beats Ruby a couple times. So Ruby's heel run didn't go anywhere either.
Yeah, so that whole story leading to them getting back together has still to this day actually not been, like, not actually led to anything, because we were thinking that was going to lead to them winning the tag titles. Hasn't happened. Then you've got Tamina, who clearly WWE, you know, likes having a worker like her on the roster. Put her in the women's title picture a couple times, again, even very early on in her career. Never managed to win the gold. And that's what she is. She's like a heater for other acts. And here's the thing. We don't know what's going to happen on Wednesday with Raquel and Dakota versus Shayna and Nia. I know you and I are hoping, actually, for Raquel and Dakota to win the titles, because I'm tired of Shayna and Nia being a team. Really, I miss caring about Shayna Baszler. It's kind of weird that I'm just like, oh, she's in that tag team. Cool, I guess. Wouldn't it be nice if Shayna and Nia lost the tag titles on Wednesday, and that killed multiple birds with the same stone, because then you could get them to split up? Shayna goes after Asuka, and we get that at WrestleMania, and it brings Raquel out of NXT because she and Dakota start showing up more on the main roster, and that means Io gets a better opponent at the next big pay-per-view, whatever NXT has too. Like, it's that is optimal. Our hopes are going to get crushed on Wednesday. Just watch.
Yeah, oh, dude, it's us. You know what's happening. But I was also going to say, though, because it's very obvious to me, and I think to you too, even though I scream into the void, and because it's the void, just I get nothing.
Dude, I reacted to Stardom today with you and my mom as our only viewers. We're used to screaming in the void at this point.
That's soul-crushingly accurate. And I did mass tagging, too. God, that's even worse. But it's very clear to me that they're setting up Natty and Tamina for a tag title shot. And I'd rather it be against Raquel and Dakota so that I could at least give a shit. Because to be perfectly honest, if it is against a Nia and a Shayna, and I could honestly see that too. Because it's like, oh, but Natalia's from the legendary Hart family. She'll be able to go hold for hold with Shayna, and Nia and Tamina. I mean, they come from the same bloodline, you know, and just, oh my God, I can see it, and I hate it. So, yeah, it just, everything's awful, really. Everything's awful in this division. I hate it. I feel so sorry for Ruby and Liv, who I feel like deserve so much better. And again, if I remember this match correctly, like you said, it was just straight up pushing in, so Billie Kay didn't even show up, right?
No, dude, no, Billie Kay was nowhere to be seen.
Now, see,
you tried to listen to fucking Natalya screaming orders at Tamina throughout the whole goddamn match.
See, and I gotta say too, bro, like, if this leads into an angle, because I'm going to be on the lookout on WWE's YouTube page, because you know that they do those exclusives, like, after each show. Yeah. If they're like, maybe we should give Billy another chance. Like, in a way, I kind of hate that, too. I wish we could get a pairing. And this is definitely another nitpick to add on to the pile of, like, the nitpick you just said about Liv doing the job. I wish that we could just get a pairing that isn't necessitated by alleged incompetence, right? Like, I want Ruby and Liv to be a good team on their own, but Billy Kay makes them a great team. Yeah. Not, oh, man, we're a shit team. We need Billy Kay to save us. That, like, I don't want that. I hate that. I categorically reject that. Because it's okay to be good and have dependency. You know who did that perfectly? Honestly, oddly enough, fucking Gulak and Bryan. Because even though Bryan was honestly, like, better than Gulak in the matches, because I don't feel like Gulak ever really beat Bryan. He was still, like, at least from what I remember, I could be wrong about that. But, you know, Bryan was still like, you know, Gulak, you know the deficiencies in my game, and, you know, you can help me out. Same way with Riot Squad. Look, you know, Billy is a former women's tag team champion. We obviously are in a tag team more actively than she is. She hasn't even really competed, but she knows the stuff. Maybe she can help us. If they kind of replicated the Gulak-Bryan dynamic and had that energy, I'd be all for this. But now I'm afraid, because of what happened tonight, it's going to be like, well, maybe Billy was right all along and we could really use her tips because, golly gee, we're just kind of a crap tag team. I don't want that, dude. I'm just going to tell you right now, I love all three people, but that's such a bullshit narrative to me. Fuck that. So, anything else you want to add to this before I move on to my final nitpick that I believe I have?
No.
Again, just want to point out very quickly, still hating the Reginald shit. I really don't know where they're going with this, but he feels so in the way.
I don't like that Reginald is still involved, and I really do not like where Sasha has taken her character. I don't know what the fuck she's doing. I hate it.
Dude, you want to know what my biggest fear is? And I guess my rule is, and it's good for both of us to know, if we're going to revisit the same complaint, at least say something new about it that maybe I hadn't thought about before. So here's something new. I'm afraid, because WWE, right, it's always that monkey's paw. You get what you want, but not the way that you wanted to get it. I'm afraid we're going to get a heel Sasha, and she's going to have Reginald as her, like, sommelier or valet or whatever the fuck. Yeah. And I hate it.
Valid fear, though. Valid fear, for sure.
Yeah, I fear that Sasha's going to turn. Reginald's going to choose her over Carmella. Carmella is going to go back to irrelevancy, which I'm not even saying is necessarily a bad thing.
Do you think there's a chance that we get a Carmella, Bayley, Baymella tag team vying for the tag titles, maybe?
Possibly. Because they're gonna need something for her to do, and Bayley can do anything at this point. Bayley, I think, is untouchable.
I mean, it would be great if they actually used her.
Yeah, because in fact, I was pointing that out. Bayley wasn't even on the fucking show tonight.
That's what I'm saying, dude. That's exactly my point.
Yeah, that's a major oversight right there. And Foster, if you have been saying that for weeks now, honestly, kudos to you. Because, yeah, it really started to sink in for me, like, oh my God, are they actually going to make this a thing? Because Sasha is very confident, and I think she's always been confident even as a face, but just something tells me, man, and maybe they're going to do the slow burn.
I mean, dude, Mark thought that Sasha was going to actually, like, attack Bianca. Like, I think Mark basically said in the Discord that he thought that Bianca was going to start to say Asuka, like she was going to choose Asuka, and then Sasha would attack her, turn heel, and force her to choose her instead of Asuka because she wanted the match with Bianca.
Yeah, well, I will say this. Javar's can Carmella and just not do anything. I've always gone to bat for Carmella that I think she's an underrated in-ring worker at least. So I'd like her to do something that really emphasizes the in-ring, and I think being in a tag team with Bayley, I wouldn't mind that, especially because Bayley, you know, she had her time. She had such a lengthy title reign. I do think that's a good use for both of them right now. Yeah. But I do hope that Sasha and Bianca main event night one. I think they should main event night one of Mania. And, you know, I want to care about this feud more. I want to care about this feud so much more. But Reginald, man, is just killing my vibe. And Sasha's fake laugh, I love Sasha to death.
Oh, my God, I know.
But it's killing my vibe.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that guy, dude. That's why I'm being very nice right now. But yeah.
Dude, that's the thing. That's what I'm saying, though. Like, Sasha's entire promo delivery is just so bad right now. I don't... What the fuck is she like? Is this supposed to be like? If she is trying to be a heel and she's doing a bit to try and get people to hate her, so that when she does officially turn heel, it's more natural. Congratulations, Sasha, you fucking worked me. But like, I really do not like her promos anymore. Just straight up, like it. It's not that I don't look forward to them anymore. I outright dread them these days. I just cannot. I low key want to mute her these days.
That's so sad. Because, like, I'm even thinking about a Sasha promo I love. Do you remember when she was NXT Women's Champion and she cut that promo on Bayley where she's looking at all the past, like, women's legends? She's, like, in that wing and she's looking at all of them. And then she turns around and, like, and then there's me talking about how, like, she's like, I guess the current legend or whatever, the great succession of these women's wrestlers. Like, promos like that, NXT Sasha's mic work was amazing. I loved her on the mic.
I can't help but start to feel like we're never getting that back again.
Probably not. Either that or even worse, maybe I'm even romanticizing it because it has been a long time since I've even gone back and listened to a
Good
Sasha
point.
NXT
Valid
promo.
Point.
You know, so it's one or the other. But man, like, I really don't want her and Reginald together, just for so many reasons. And really, I wanted to come on here tonight and really verbalize that fear because this was the first time tonight that I'm like, they keep doing this. And like Carmella even said, you're going to have a choice, Reginald, and I know you're going to do the right thing. He's going to want to go with fucking Sasha. Sasha's going to want to do it. And again, they may do the slow burn. I'm not officially predicting this. We're still a ways off from WrestleMania preview predictions, but just putting this out there. If fucking Bianca would beat Sasha, I could see Sasha because of the nature of her character having a complex, right? And thinking like, oh, let me go with Reginald because maybe that'll be my secret weapon against Bianca in a rematch or whatever.
Yeah, I was going to say, what if Reginald is the reason Bianca doesn't beat Sasha?
And that could be, you know? Yeah, Foster, first of all, we could never hate you. Never feel uncomfortable voicing your opinions here. And second of all, yeah, that like, I don't want to believe that. I don't think that's true. But it's so bad currently for me that I'm kind of gaslighting myself in a way. Like, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, look, Foster, that might be true for you. You might have never liked Sasha on the mic, and that is an entirely fair stance. But I remember Sasha's NXT promos. I remember how damn good she was. And even just this past year, when she was heel with Bayley, she was killing it.
That is true.
On the mic, everything. Yeah. Like, it's Sasha Banks cutting a good promo isn't a unicorn. She just needs to find a pocket, and she's not in one right now, and it's bad.
No, it really, really is. I'm from an in-ring standpoint, I cannot emphasize enough how fucking stoked I am for this match.
I know, dude. I literally even said in the live wrestling discussion channel in the Discord, what the fuck is Sasha doing with her character right now? Everything about her character and promo delivery is completely different than it's ever been before. That match is gonna slap at least.
Yeah. I think
that's the only good thing about this is at least when it's all over, we're getting the match.
Yeah, I genuinely think that this is like a WWE match of the year contender for them. And again, they should main event night one of Mania. I would even like to get into a broader discussion one of these days that maybe they could just main event Mania altogether. But I will table that for a different time. Do you have any other nitpicks or heats of the night?
No.
All right, then let us get into our Friday night Smackdown review. We begin with the tribal chief, the head of the table, Roman Reigns. We get a recap from Elimination Chamber, his dominance, and Roman just pretty much brags about what he did. He's like, I dominated, I destroyed Daniel Bryan. It was the beatdown of the year, maybe even of the decade. And other people, you know, Paul, you would have had to throw a whole party for him, but not me. Not me. It's just a day at the office for the head of the table. So just another day for me. And you know, Roman is talking his shit, then he directs it to Edge. Now, here's the interesting thing. And I didn't want to count this as a nitpick. I wanted to kind of more explore this with you in dialogue. Roman's character before seemed like he was almost like a weird codependency with Edge, because it's like they needed each other for that main event spot if they wanted box office, right, in kayfabe. Well, Roman's got that now, and now in this promo he changes to and he's like, I'm going to give you a chance to back out because you got a beautiful family and I don't want to have to hurt you. I don't want to have to do what I'm going to do to you if you go down this road. Did you find that to be a weird contrast, or did you find that perfectly consistent with the character? Like, you talk shit, but then when it looks like you're about to get hit, you don't necessarily flinch because you're Roman Reigns, but your language changes a little bit. What did you think about this?
Well, dude, I don't think Roman ever believed that it was a codependency. I don't think that Roman ever believed that he needed Edge for the main event. I think Edge was the one that had that in his mind. I think that Roman fully believes that he's Roman Reigns, he's the head of the table, and if he is in a championship match, which he's going to be, it's the main event no matter who he's against. So I think that maybe the character right now, it's less about him being worried about whether he's going to main event or not, because he's confident that he will no matter what. And it's more about him being fucking scared of Edge.
Yeah. Because it's just weird, though, because unless I, again, just misremembering, maybe COVID time really is fucking me up. I feel like there were times where Roman was almost like egging Edge on, like, just choose me already. Choose me, make your choice, acknowledge me. He almost looked at it as another acknowledgement. And now he's like, oh, wait a minute.
I don't remember Roman ever doing that. So if he did, I just wasn't paying enough attention to SmackDown. But I don't remember him ever saying anything like that.
Well, yeah, because I feel like even like the first week they did it, like after Edge won the Rumble, Roman expected Edge to choose him by the end of the night, and then that's when Kevin Owens came from behind and stunned him. I don't know if anybody in chat can back me up on this so that I'm not crazy, but my point being that because I feel like Roman did this, it's weird for him now to be like, oh, now that you made this choice, I mean, it's kind of full. Yeah, and see, Mark and Cord Comerbrand are saying he did. He told Edge to pick him. Okay. And now he's saying back out. So, like, now that you know that, like, how do you feel about that? Do you feel like it's weird for the character? Or do you feel like
that is. I mean, it's a very WWE move for them to just have a character that can't stay consistent.
And that's such a shame. Like, yeah. Foster's saying Roman's kind of fickle. That brings back to heel Daniel Bryan. Oddly enough, these guys were quite linked tonight. So I don't know. Like it's weird because like he tells Edge straight up, pick me. Like I'm the main event, so you've got to pick me because he knows that. I think Edge said it perfectly. Like I won the main event, or I won the Royal Rumble, so I am the main event at WrestleMania. That's my legal right. Roman obviously wants a piece of that, so pick me. And yeah, Corey Corbin saying you want Edge to acknowledge him as opponent at WrestleMania. Edge does that, granted with a spear and kind of getting up in his face, and Roman's just like, nah, man. It was a prank, bro. You have a beautiful family. I don't want to hurt you. And I'm like, okay. Like, are you trying to make everyone Jey Uso with this gaslighting and whatever? Because we all know what you said. But, it's whatever. Bryan comes out. And I got to tell you, Bryan, great performance in the chamber. And just stuff like that, very endearing. Just hearing, kind of his presentation, the underdog, very clearly emanating that underdog energy, saying, some people, not me, but some people would say that a guy defending his Universal Championship against somebody that just went through Elimination Chamber is kind of cowardly. Not me, though. Just people that I've heard. And he says, but how about this? How about you give me an opportunity? I'm at 100% because there have been a lot of comparisons between you and I. You can put that all to rest. No qualifiers, no anything. You, me, Universal title at Fastlane. Jey Uso cuts in. I like Jey Uso, man. Can we just say Jey Uso's been doing some great work these past several months.
Oh yeah.
And every time he opens his mouth, man, I'm a mixture of amused, horrified, and just joy, really, because he is genuinely good at it. And more or less, again, he's like puffing his chest out. He's like, you had your chance, Oos. What are you doing, DB? You lost. You want to get to Roman? Why not try and go through his right-hand man? That's me, Oos. I'll lay you out. I'll take you out. Which that actually brings to mind another thing that I was surprised by on SmackDown, but we'll get to that. And then, Bryan he kind of just doesn't even acknowledge that. Gets up in Roman's face. Him and Roman are jacking jaws. Then Jey attacks, Bryan just suddenly, beats him down, and then he throws him into the Thunderdome. And I got to be honest, too, because we've seen several performers get, thrown over the barricade into the Thunderdome. And I love how the camera did it here, because even Jey was joking, ta-da, it was a magic trick. I made him disappear. And, it just made it seem like Bryan never came up from that spot. So I'm like, does the Shadow Realm have him now? What happened? But I really enjoyed this segment, man. I thought it had good energy. Jey has really stepped up, where I know they kind of heelishly we're talking about main event Jey Uso, but it kind of feels like it too, because I enjoyed him in his match against Bryan later that night, which we'll get to. So what did you think about all this, man?
Yeah, I loved this first segment. I agree with you about the Jey Uso thing. Honestly, I don't know how long they're going to want to wait to pull the trigger, but I don't know, man. Jay might be the one to beat Roman for that title. He might be the best choice for it from a storyline perspective. Is there really anything better than somebody that couldn't beat the bad guy, becoming a slave to the bad guy, and then working with the bad guy only to eventually turn on the bad guy and beat him for his prize?
Dude, it's another Kofi Mania, but in a way, almost even more impressive. Because, like, at least Kofi, before he went to the WWE title, was a very decorated mid-card guy.
Yeah.
Jay has always been a tag team guy. Like, oh, and not even, like, in the Edge sense where it's like, oh, a tag team guy, but he always showed that charisma to be a singles guy. Like, no, he really seemed coded to be, you're going to be an amazing career tag team competitor.
Yep.
And he's doing this, man. Like, it's so goddamn impressive. Like, I know this is a extended Heat of the Night segment that we had, so it just feels good to really show the love to Jay, who's been working his ass off, I feel like, to really be believable in the main event scene.
Yeah.
So, yeah, good on him, man. Good on him. And, yeah, he's enjoying the magic trick that he just pulled. Then we cut to Edge, you know, talking with
Brian.
Well, not Brian. Remember, it was Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville because
right.
Brian's disappeared, and he's like,
"We did have the conversation with Brian later in the night, though. I just jumped ahead."
He did. Yeah, yes, you were right. But yeah, that is what happened. But weird thing here. So he introduces it with "We need to talk." Commercial break. But then the actual segment we get next is Jey Uso apologizing to Roman, saying, "You know, I couldn't let D-Bry, you know, disrespect you like that. I'm sorry, Uso. I got excited." And Roman's just like, "No problem, as long as you take care of business. You know, just don't let me down tonight." And God, you know, again, this dynamic, like, and the asshole in me feels like it's a comedy gold mine because it's very clearly a lot of toxicity here. But then just the wrestling fan in me that wants to be more thoughtful when I get on here, it's just such a great dynamic because while Jay has become more believable, Roman hasn't stopped being ominous. And when he says, like, you know, just don't screw up, I'm like, oh, God. Like, I get nervous. I think Jey Uso might be the first guy, for all the praise we've thrown on him, on more of a character beat. He's the first guy that I get nervous watching wrestle for all of the right reasons. Because it's like, oh, God, is Roman going to have something to say about this if you fuck this up? But no, he does give that kind of warning there. Then we cut to Edge more fully, talking with Adam Pearce and Sonya, what he wanted to talk about. And he's like, I thought that Fastlane was going to be me tagging with Brian, interesting here, against Roman and Jay. And more or less the conversation amounts to, yeah, we said that, but...
Dude, I got really mixed messages here, because I thought that Roman was like, I don't want to face Edge, I'm scared of Edge. I thought he was going to help Brian win so that he didn't have to be in the tag match. But now that Brian didn't win, I almost think that the tag match is going to happen, you know?
Yeah.
Weird. It's so weird.
Actually, dude, since we're on that beat, I can kind of mention something that threw me off, too, about tonight's episode. No Kevin Owens. And I only say that because Kevin Owens even tweeted, like, see you soon, Jay. Well, no sooner than Friday, right? Like, after Chamber. So I was surprised he didn't try and get his hands on Jey Uso, given that Jay was in the main event. I thought the table was set. So... do you think maybe a 6-man tag at Fastlane, Brian, Edge, and Kevin versus Roman, Jay, and is Jimmy cleared? Like, because Jimmy obviously is the first one that comes to mind for this shit, right? So, like, man. I don't know. I mean, you had your tentative voice on where you're, like, uncomfortable. What is it?
I don't think that I had the tentative voice on because I don't want to be the one to break it to you that I don't think Kevin Owens is going to stay involved in this story.
Well, no, I'm saying, like, it seems very clear that he's going to do a separate story with Jey Uso specifically. I don't think he's going to fuck with Roman anymore. I expected a new.
Well, then, okay. Well, then here's what I think is going to happen. Then we're going to get the tag match: Edge and Brian versus Roman and Jay. Kevin is going to cost Roman and Jay the match by attacking Jay.
Okay, I can deal with that. Okay, yeah, I don't mind that Kevin's out of the I mean, you know, I was already prepping, like, we're doing the Edge Roman thing. As much as I'm against it, I'm actually excited about Kevin doing a storyline with Jey Uso because that is still close to the title picture, and I think it's great for Jay too, who we're just singing the praises of, you know, for a considerable amount of time there. Brian didn't technically lose, Mark. It was a double count out at the end of the show.
Oh, I thought Brian got counted out.
No, it was a double count out, bro. They both got counted out.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
But regardless, he didn't win, which is what I said.
That is true. Yeah, and that's why like they floated the tag match out there, but I'm like, oh, could the Universal title match happen? But then where would Edge fit? And yeah, maybe the tag match is just back on the table. But it's God, I'm gonna say something weird here. I almost can't wait to get past WrestleMania. Like, I am excited.
Dude, I just had a thought.
Yeah.
What if Bryan's kayfabe injured now because of Jay's attack on him, and that's going to allow Owens to team with Edge?
Ooh, that's interesting.
That would piss Roman off so bad, dude.
And he'd take it out on Jay again. But
yeah,
no.
He would.
Yeah, that could be, man. Because, like, here's the thing, too. See, fuck, I have so many thoughts. Okay. Deep breath, one at a time. I just get excited when we talk about a lot of stuff. So, one at a time. I'm honestly looking more forward to getting past Mania. And that's because I look at the world title picture as having a lot of moving parts right now. And, like, it kind of needs to calm down a little bit for me. Because on one hand, Bryan is immediately believable, right? You throw him into any picture, it doesn't take any convincing for you, for me, I don't think for anybody, right? On the other hand, though, and again, this is the weakest point of SmackDown because it's the same weak point of all WWE products. Where is the consistency? Like, yes, Bryan won the Chamber. That's true. We were all there for it. But this is also the same guy that's lost 2 one-on-one matches to Cesaro the last couple of weeks. So, like, I don't like that Cesaro immediately gets counted out here. I mean, granted, he is doing something that I'm excited about. We'll get to that. So, you have Bryan. You have Cesaro. In a way, I would still say, even in kayfabe, you have Kevin Owens because he is just so insistent. Like, I'm fucking beating Roman for this. We have Edge. A crowded picture is a healthy problem to have. I'm not saying it's a bad problem. I'm just wondering how they're going to handle it all. Now, I do like your idea of Kevin teaming with Bryan, and I want to double down that I love the idea of Kevin feuding with Jey Uso. Like, I am all about that. In fact, honestly, I almost wish that they would have done that sooner because Kevin wasn't really going to get a fair shot at the world title so long as Jey was a problem. And you see even a Chamber because Jey eliminated Kevin. Like, not only did he assault him viciously, he made sure that Kevin would not get another shot at Roman. So Rumble, where now he's going with the reason of they paid off a referee, was his last shot. So it makes perfect sense in kayfabe. Like, okay, just got to take a step back. I got to take care of, the quote-unquote right-hand man. Then when he's out of the way and I've really incapacitated his ass, then I've got Roman or whoever the champion is. So I like that. I don't know what Bryan does at Mania, though. And see, that's what kind of frustrates me. Because, like, Bryan looks like now he could be a world title contender. And I keep feeling like Edge's match with Roman's going to be one-on-one. You feel the same way, too, right? You don't think they're going to add people to this?
The only other thing that I could see changing is I could see them adding KO to it, but I don't expect that to happen.
I don't expect it to happen either, dude, because I expect Jey and KO to continue through Mania, personally.
Yeah, I can agree to that, too. Dude, I'll tell you what, too. I almost have to wonder if somebody, maybe even Edge, is going to beat Roman for the title, and whoever it is that beats Roman for the title, it pisses Kevin Owens off to the point that he turns heel, attacks them while they're celebrating, and is just like, no, he was mine to beat, like that whole thing. You know what I mean?
I'd love that. Because here's the thing, and I'm not just speaking about you or I personally, and especially me personally. Like, I will own this 100%. I also think it's just like a wrestling, not just like a wrestling thing, but more of like a social thing. An underdog story is good, but you got to be quick about how you use the rope that you're given, right? Because I think soon people are going to be over this. The same way, hell, dude, you want a perfect parallel, poetically enough, the same way they were with Bryan. That's why Bryan turned heel, right? Because, oh, it's so cool. Look at him defying the odds and he's back. And then he was getting lukewarm reactions, like maybe even 6 months after his return, maybe even less. And then he turned heel, and it was fucking magical because that's when we got the eco-friendly belt and everything else. People are going to get over this. I think they may even get over it faster because at least Bryan then could still really go. And I'm not saying Edge is the shits, but he's 47 fucking years old. It's going to get played out. So you need a plan. I love that idea, dude. I fucking love that idea. Like, Edge needs to be a heel soon. I'm not saying
No, I said Kevin turns heel, dude.
Oh, Kevin turns heel. I kind of blanked on that. Well,
No. Listen, I'm going to go over it again just to make sure that you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Somebody beats Roman for the title that isn't Kevin. Maybe it's Edge. Maybe it's Bryan. I don't know. Whoever it is. Maybe it's not until next year's WrestleMania. I don't fucking know. Whoever it is, though, that beats Roman for the title, it can't be Kevin. With the scenario here being, it pisses Kevin off because he thought that he was supposed to be the one that beats Roman for the title. So he then attacks whoever the new champion is while we're celebrating, and like with the reasoning of he was mine to beat, that's my title, that kind of thing.
Okay, see, now that I don't like. I actually hate
that's
that.
That's literally
hate
the
that
exact
viscerally.
thing that I just got done saying.
Yeah, I hate that viscerally. I would, though, swap Kevin out for Edge. Because Edge could just as easily say it was mine to beat because I won the Rumble and that's the title I never lost. Well, I never lost my world title when I had it. So I feel like you could use the same reasoning. I don't want Kevin to. Now I'm in the camp, oddly enough, the guy that loves heels. I don't want Kevin to turn heel. We've seen what Kevin does as a heel.
Okay, I appreciate that you would hate that happening, but I'm saying I think it will. I think there's a strong chance that will happen because it feels like the WWE doesn't plan on putting the title on Kevin, and they're running out of things for him to do.
Fuck. I really hate that idea. Like, I loathe that idea. Fucking hell. And stuff like this is almost why I hate that Edge came back. And again, like, not gonna blame the guy for it, but fucking hell.
Yeah, I don't know if you realize. I don't know if you knew this, but Mark is fully convinced that Edge is winning at WrestleMania.
Oh, I didn't know that, but that's good to know, Mark. That's good to know because, like, WrestleMania preview and predictions. I'm going to say this is going to be very interesting because I really don't know where I land on like a lot of these matches.
Right.
That said, yeah, dude. I can't see what I hate it twice because I just hate the idea in and of itself, and I hate that I can't viscerally disagree with you like on rational grounds. Like I can emote to you that I hate it, but when I would need a substantive retort, I don't have one, and I just have to be honest about that. I don't have one, and I hate it. Because I think his character's so good right now, and we've seen what he can do as a heel, and it's not that it's bad. You know, I'm gonna love KO no matter what, but like. We see what's so good about him being a babyface when you give him a dance partner. And, like, yeah, WWE, they're inspired because Roman Reigns probably has a lot of creative control. And that's why it worked so well, because it was Roman driving, not WWE. When WWE's driving, how bad do we think it's going to get when they try and force Kevin to have stuff to do? That worries me. That worries me a lot. God, I loved everything you said, and then I blanked out that you meant Kevin and not Edge, because I'm like, yeah, Edge should totally do that because he feels entitled to this and that. But you meant Kevin, and I'm like,
well, yeah, because it feels so much more personal between Kevin and Roman, where like, you know, Roman is like downright scared of Kevin, and we kind of talked about that going into the Rumble, and like Kevin should have beaten Roman for the title so many times, and he just keeps getting screwed by Jey Uso. And then somebody else comes along and beats Roman for the title first try, like Edge or something like that. Like, yeah, if I were Kevin, if we're speaking from a strictly like logical writing standpoint, Kevin should turn heel at that point. I'd be pissed. I'd want to be an asshole at that point too.
Dude, and you know what I fucking hate? Now that I'm really processing everything you've said here, and now that we're like really having this conversation, I hate that I have to give you a point in your column. Because let's remember, the SmackDown before Chamber, when Edge was visiting each of the opponents, Kevin even made a remark to Edge like, oh, you and I are a lot similar. You know, we just keep getting back up. And I feel like I'm so close to beating Roman. Like time after time after time, I'm just right there. And he keeps taking it from me. You know, he kind of said something to that effect. So you say that to that guy, and then that guy goes on to beat Roman, almost as if to tell you, well, see, it wasn't that hard.
Yeah.
I fucking hate it. And then, okay, so I don't remember, like, if you said this part, or if this would just be a continuation of everything you said. So if Edge would become champion, right, or just whatever. I know you said, like, whoever, but let's stick with Edge, because he's the most immediate guy.
Edge is the easiest hypothetical here.
Do we see KO now as a heel, like, cheating to beat Edge to win the title, or does Edge, like, overcome KO, do you think? Like, if they do that. Like,
I haven't thought that far ahead. I don't know.
Yeah. But I don't even know. See,
it feels like KO would be able to beat him, just because like I don't expect Edge to have a long title reign, because like it feels like that Cinderella story, and those never last long, you know?
Dude, yeah, I agree with you for one, but like, you know that I'm very attached to babyface Kevin Owens when even the prospect of him being world champion again isn't enough to cleanse my palate from how awful that sounds of turning a heel.
Yeah.
Because I'm even thinking, like, would I even be happy if he was world champion again? Not as a heel. I want it as a babyface. Like, that's how committed I am to babyface Kevin Owens. Like, you really. I'm actually glad this misunderstanding happened because you showed me how much I truly do love babyface Kevin Owens. I know I already put him number one in the top 10 of the last Fave 5 that we did, but this really makes it concrete. Like, wow, I am all in on this character. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's a bitch, because that's probably going to happen. So, just remember, kids, you can't have any dreams in WWE because they'll find a way to kill it. Just be hopeful that it's quickly. So, yeah, we get that whole thing. Maybe Kevin will tag with Edge. I don't know. That's a very interesting possibility, though, because Brian was selling the shit out of that knee tonight. So it's either he's not going in 100% and it's kind of an underdog thing, or, you know, one of those cards subject to change things like Pierce pulled, and it's fucking KO. Should be interesting. Getting on to some lighter subjects, well, potentially, depending on who you ask, we've got Otis and Gable versus the Mysterios. I'm guessing if you asked Ray, this wasn't a lighter subject. It seems about over 300 pounds heavier, as a matter of fact. How do we feel about this matchup here? What do you think?
Love it. Absolutely love it. I'm a huge fan of Alpha Academy. Gable's awesome. Otis is actually really, really good in this role, which I did not expect him to be a good heel, but here we are. I love this presentation. I love that they're beating on the Mysterios of all people, because fuck the Mysterios. I just love it.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to agree with you, man. I really do. This is good to me.
Alex Foster in chat. Ray is one of my all-time favorites, but he deserved this.
Foster, finally, you're starting, and maybe you have for a long time. I've started giving you enough credit because I'm a terrible person, but like it just means a lot that you and I have the same energy on these things. I'm like, I like you, but you need to learn. And like, Ray needed to learn. I don't care that you're a legend. Legend is just heavily coded verbiage for old. Okay? Mm-hmm. Stop copping your fucking shit, right? You had this coming. You're an old man in a young man's game. Get out of the way. And now you should be thanking Otis because now you've got a proper test for your newly minted fucking life alert. Bitch. So, yeah, I love this. This was great. This was fucking amazing, actually. And Otis, I will say this, bringing it down just a bit because I got a little excited there. It's great for Otis to show his athleticism because, like, I love watching this dude work. That's another thing too. Smackdown, I think, is like teaching me the people that I like and the people I don't like. Because when I see injustices done, or I fear injustices done, as in the case of KO and that big digression we just got done having, I still feel like Otis shouldn't have lost that briefcase, and they should have bet on Otis for just one fucking show. And I'm still mad at them that they didn't. And then I see performances like this, and I'm like, they could have done something. Roman and Otis really could have done something, and you didn't believe in them enough to do it. And that bothers me. Because this was great. I really enjoyed this. You're right, man. Chad Gable has that uncanny fucking ability. You give him a tag team, you give him a minimum of 3 months to make it work if you give him constant TV time. Hell, if you give him consistent TV time, even less. But if you're going to be, like, on and off, like I know this company is, you know, at least stick with it for a little bit. He'll get us to come around. He's got me to come around on this. Do I want Chad Gable in singles? Always. Always. But does he find a way for me to love these tag teams? Whether it's Jason Jordan, which I was immediately in love with, Shelton Benjamin, which grew on me, and now this, which is also now grown on me. Chad's got a spotless fucking record. Maybe the only partner I didn't like was Rude, and even then, I didn't hate it at least. So, like, it was
yeah, Gable and Rude were a hell of a lot better than Rudolph.
Exactly. So, yeah, they fucking win this match legitimately, and I love that, again, it's Otis getting the winning pin on Ray, which I wish they'd make a bigger deal out of, because I know I just got done being shit to Ray, but I'm me. Like, you know, that's obviously
Otis just pinned a former world champion.
Not only world champion, dude, but like 3-time world champion, 2 world heavyweight and former WWE champion. Like, 3-time world champion, mid-card.
It does feel like they're kind of minimizing Ray's accomplishments now. Not even just like within the confines of this feud, but like in general, it feels like they don't want people to remember that about him.
Yeah. And that really sucks because like Ray really is at the point of his career, and I'm being like completely serious about this now, where like he could put over other people and it's a big fucking deal. Yeah. Like, oh wow, I just beat this dude. Yep. Otis just pinned a 3-time world champion. That should be a bigger deal, kayfabe wise, than what it is. So that kind of sucks. Again, dude, Foster is killing it with the takes tonight. I love you. I just want to like make that go. Like, I fucking love your face right now, dude. Holy shit. Because yeah, maybe Dominic should have tried harder to not suck. His defense was horrible tonight. The fuck are you doing out there? So, and then Corey Graves is like, I'm so excited for the future of Dominic Mysterio. Graves, keep your opinions to yourself. Jesus Christ. You are the worst thing that's ever happened to podcasting, bar none. Wow. So, yeah, I was right.
I didn't say you weren't.
And so then we got Apollo Crews, this whole thing with Nakamura. We already talked about that extensively in the first segment. Nothing more to say. Mm-hmm. Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman, very quick segment, just reiterating, like, you know, because Roman's a bit confused, so the tag match is off. If Daniel Bryan beats Jey Uso, which it's funny that Paul emphasized that, because now my headcanon is that Roman said, hey, Jey, if you feel like Bryan's turning the momentum, make it a double count out. I almost feel like that was like an order by Roman. Just because
that's what the fucking look was for. See, I had it in my mind that he had that look in his face because he was like, maybe I want to face Bryan instead of having to deal with Edge 2 pay-per-views in a row. Maybe I should help Bryan win so that I can avoid that tag match with Edge. But no, it was literally just like, oh, Bryan has to win, huh? He can't go to a draw? I see.
Yeah, exactly. So I love it. That's officially my headcanon that like Roman met up with Jey at some point and he's like, hey, I figured it out. Double count out. You're not winning tonight, but neither is he. So gotta love the tribal chief. Tamina versus Liv Morgan.
If you can't beat him, keep him out of the ring. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I love the Roman energy you added. I'm gonna give you a 9 out of 10 for that. Then we got Tamina and Liv. Already talked about it. Bianca Belair's decision. We pretty much already talked about it.
I mean, I will say I did love Bianca's energy, and like really, she was the star of this entire segment. And that's if Sasha's goal is to make herself just come off as terrible so that Bianca looks that much better, it's working. Yeah,
well, there you go. I guess my only other nitpick about this, and it really is the pickiest in it, I thought Asuka should have been here for this.
Yeah, dude, I was waiting for fucking Io to come out and be like, hey, no one's mentioning me.
Yeah, dude, I'm actually glad you mentioned that because I even wanted to mention our last NXT review, so I guess I could say you beat me to this. Like, they did the whole thing with the NXT champion for Edge, but not Bianca.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Bianca was never NXT Women's Champion, so it especially doesn't make any sense because she's never held a women's title.
Yep.
Like, damn, y'all be doing Io so dirty, man. It's not cool.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like they're trying to like hide her in NXT or something.
It's like, no, don't take her. She's ours. We got to protect her at all costs. It's like, I feel you. But the universe is going to take care of that when one day she's conquered WWE and then she's like, okay, now I'm extra credible and I'm going to go back to Stardom and do all the fucking things. One can hope.
Vince, I'm going to need you to acknowledge her.
Yes.
As a money draw. It's real. Look at the numbers. Do not doubt this woman.
No. And keep her away from fucking Charlotte, who may injure her and, like, have a fucking vested interest in keeping her down. Fuck Charlotte.
Look at the chart, Vince. Look at the chart.
Look at the chart, yes. After this, we get Sami Zayn and Caillou, who's very angry because he didn't go to the circus today.
God, Corbin was he really is Caillou. He was such a whiny bitch.
Stop filming me! Caillou was very angry being on camera.
Caillou needed a nap.
No, I don't want to be filmed today. Stop filming me. Shut up. Oh my God. I can't.
I feel like you just for a shoot annoyed yourself.
I did. And you know what though? It was worth it because your laughter was 100% genuine. So yeah, we get Sami Zayn and Corbin here. Corbin's just annoyed by the camera crew. Sami, God, man, I did enjoy Smackdown tonight. I don't know what's with me right now because, like, I didn't necessarily like this either. Why is Sami now tagging with somebody that's so polar opposite to him? Like, okay, So here's the thing, and I'm reading way too much into characters, right? This is 100% a John problem. Again, I reiterate, I need therapy. No longer a meme. Seriously. But, like, Sami is this great liberator. He's speaking out against injustice. You're talking to a guy whose character is he's royalty. They are perpetuators of injustice, legitimately.
Oh, like, but Sami's also a heel, so he's a hypocrite. Come on, man.
I know, but, like, I still don't like you. You win one tag match against the Mysterios, who, I mean, they're kind of trashed here. And you're like,
dude,
hey.
Do you not see that this is Sami trying to, like, find a tribe? He's all by himself. He had to hire these guys off of Craigslist to film his documentary for him. Like, he's looking for someone to just be there for him, man. He's just like, hey, Corbin, I mean, we did have some good chemistry a few weeks ago. We got into the Elimination Chamber together. I thought that was pretty cool. You want to give this a shot, man?
Yeah. And Foster making a great point. Does Corbin not know that he's always being filmed? I mean,
that's fucking amazing. His new gimmick needs to be like Mil Muertes in Lucha Underground. He fucking hates cameras. He just goes up to him and knocks it away every time.
Yeah. And as far as like Sami wanting a community of his own, like, I don't know. Hopefully Corbin was just a week one thing and he looks for other people and he's not stuck on
I mean,
Corbin.
they did lose. So this might actually spiral into a feud.
Maybe. Oh, God, but then who's the face in that case?
So, well, I would expect Sami to be, because Corbin was the whiny bitch.
True. That's weird. Okay.
It is a little weird, but not as weird as saying that right now.
Well, no, because, like, WWE, though, might just be the opposite, and Corbin is the face. And, like, that's why I'm so weirded out. And see, that groan, if we're talking about noises, is because you know that I'm onto something there, because you know they always choose.
You know what, though? We've never had a babyface Corbin, and he might be just silly enough for it to work. I don't know.
Hey, Ashton, do you feel that? That's the ratings continuing to decline regardless.
Well, I mean, SmackDown's ratings have been pretty good. As long as we just have Roman stay at the top, it's okay if Corbin goes heel.
I just had to mock that Corbin line to edge again. When somebody talks to you with a $39,000 timepiece, holy shit, bro, you need that much money to tell time? Holy fuck. Okay.
Wait, was that a Corbin line?
It was a Corbin line. I think he said $10,000 suit and a $39,000 timepiece, and that's when Edge was like, pulled out his...
geek.
Dude, I know. That's why I'm like, you feel that? Ratings declining regardless. Yeah, we get Zayn and Corbin versus Street Profits. Yeah, like existing.
Why would you say that?
I'm infected with being right now.
You're infected with cynicism is what it is.
Zayn and Corbin versus the Street Profits. I don't know, man. You keep having this back and forth. I'm gonna turn up. It's gonna happen.
Fuck.
Street Profits win. They're making a big story about how they haven't gotten their rematch. Is it possible that they're just gonna regain the titles at Mania?
Yes.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm slated them for.
Frankly, at this point, the tag division is so fucking directionless. I hope that either that happens or better, Otis and Gable win them in a multi.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I could see a multi-team match being a thing.
Yeah, tag teams aren't important enough to do, like, standard tag team matches. Like, legitimately, and I'm not even kidding, the only standard tag match I could see, like, ever happening for Mania would be if Rey and Dominic were the number one contenders, because they would make the biggest fucking deal, again, about father-son tag team champions.
Yeah.
Like, other than that, you're going to do a schmoz, because none of you are
dude, here's what I think is going to happen, though. I think that they are going to be involved in the tag titles, but I still think it's going to be a multi-team match, and I think they're just probably going to win them. It's probably going to be Rudolph, Street Profits, Otis and Gable, and the Mysterios. It's going to be those four teams. Maybe Sami and Corbin, but that seems doubtful at this point. It seems more likely they'll be facing each other than tagging. But I'm guessing it'll be those four teams, and then Rey and Dominic are just going to win, get their WrestleMania moment, and then commentary gets to blow up about it.
Watch Dominic pin Gable to do it, too, so that they just put a nice little bow on everything there. Yeah. I can see it.
And I know you were about to say knife, and it would have been right, because that's exactly what would be placed in my back at that point.
Oh, cynical now. Jesus. Okay. We get the Brian segment talking about, how confident he is you know, about like if he could beat Jay, like what would his chances be against Roman? And he mentions Edge, you know, maybe kind of doubting Edge's chances. Then Edge comes in, they have a bit of a discussion, and you know, Brian says like, oh, if I beat Roman Fastlane, beat you and me in Mania, you and Mania, and then Edge is like, well, who wins that match? Brian's like, I'm not going to answer that, but you know, we'll be talking later. So again, keeping those options open. I will say this, for all of my kind of tentativeness with SmackDown as far as certain characters and just their direction goes, I do like that they're kind of playing with an openness with the Universal title picture, even though I think we all know that it's pretty much closed. It is going to be Edge, Roman, and Mania.
Right,
you know?
But they're at least trying to maintain the illusion that it could be anything else.
Exactly. After this, we get Seth Rollins, who I honestly, when he came out, I'm like, is he going to have a match? Because he looked like he was in ring gear. I'm like, oh, we're finally going to see Seth compete. That's interesting. Another little talking segment. What did you think about this, man? Just this whole thing. I want your thoughts on this.
First of all, Seth is fucking ridiculous. But second of all, I will say this might have been my favorite segment of the entire show.
Yeah.
Just, you know, he brings out Cesaro and Seth's just I don't know. There's something about Seth selling terror and fear for his own life, basically, as he's trying to talk someone down. Like, whoa there, big guy. Take a deep breath, calm down, relax, take it easy. It's like, it gives me such like Hollywood movie good dog vibes. You know what I mean? Like he's trying to calm Cesaro down so he doesn't attack him. And then he's just like, yeah, you stand there. You stay standing there. Look at you. You are a star. And he's like trying to build Cesaro up. And then he says, I can help you to grab every brass ring. I can help you to break through every glass ceiling. And he's basically trying to be almost like a Billy Kay to Cesaro's Riot Squad, like trying to offer his services, or maybe even like a Robert Stone brand. Like he's almost like trying to offer managerial services, or at the very least, which is what we know it actually is, mentorship to Cesaro. And Cesaro's response is brilliant because he doesn't talk. And like, I love Cesaro, but he's not the best talker. So having him not talk is a great decision, especially if we want to keep him over as a babyface. His response isn't to talk, it's to grab Seth's legs. And I love Seth still talking shit, trying to get him to stop on the mic while he's upside down in this position. And Cesaro swings him, and he does a really good swing. And like, he even had like a thing where he like stopped halfway through and then he was just like, shrug, I'm gonna keep going. And he kept going. And like Seth lost the mic in the swing and he lost his jacket in the swing. And the way that Seth sold his dizziness afterwards had very Johnny Gargano vibes of like silly, goofy, but still like actually like that's probably about how it would feel kind of vibes. Like, yeah, this segment was really, really good. I loved it. It was really fun.
I think you said it perfectly. I've really got nothing of substance to add except to say that I'm really excited for this feud. And I hope for Cesaro and all of his fans, us included, he gets a singles match with Seth at Mania. Because, like, he deserves a fucking singles match for the work that he's been putting in the last couple months. He has been astounding. Him as a babyface feels so right. He may very quickly join the ranks of, like, KO, Juice, Starlight Kid is just, again, baby faces that I fucking adore. Who would have thought that we'd be in an era where I'd go to bat for baby faces so hard? But here we are. Yeah, it was great. And I'm really hoping...
Who could have ever possibly thunk it?
And see, dude, that's another reason, though, like, why I'm so excited to get beyond Mania in a way. Because, again, hypothetically, because I know we'll lock in our predictions, like, you know, when Mania comes around. Say Cesaro beats Seth. Say KO wins his Mania match. Say Edge wins or even loses. I'm already thinking, like, SummerSlam might be pretty fucking lit this year, depending on how they want to go about it. I mean, and depending on if everybody, like, stays healthy, you know? Like,
yeah. That's a great stipulation as well, because it's not easy to stay healthy in this business for anyone.
No, especially in times like a pandemic, certainly not. But I'm already thinking, like, they could build Cesaro up, or even Bryan up if they want to stall it. Because I was even thinking too, like, I know SummerSlam's a great ways away. We're talking that's like fucking August. That's like almost half a year away. But they could do Bryan Roman at SummerSlam, or fucking Edge if they wanted to. Cesaro, you know, definitely that'd be cool to see him in a venue like that, given what SummerSlam means to the company. The SmackDown has cool options. SmackDown has a lot of cool, all things, you know, considered. they've got a lot that they can work with, and that's really exciting to think about. I'm really jazzed about the Universal title picture. I will say that's SmackDown's strongest point to me right now. Is that main event scene.
I agree.
Totally
agree, my friend. Totally agree.
Absolutely. Well, when your face agrees with me about things, I feel unstoppable. So, in that spirit, we get Bryan versus Jay. Very nicely worked matchup. Again, Jay really feels believable in this spot now when you've got just a quintessential babyface in Bryan that plays the underdog role to perfection. It's magic. One sequence in particular I liked, Bryan was going to go for the running knee, and Jay just does a vicious chop block. And, great psychology here working over the knee, and of course, psychology.
Man. Yeah. That's been Jay. Yeah, Jay's really, really good at this. He's just really good at this. Like, he's just a really good wrestler.
Yeah, dude, abso-fucking-lutely. And, psychology cuts two ways. You could work over a limb, but it's not going to be as engrossing unless the person's selling it. Of course, Bryan's selling his ass off.
Of course.
So that makes it great. We get the double count out. And then Roman comes out again. He starts beating down Bryan. Bryan, though, looks like he's going to get him in the yes-lock again, which is a great moment. But then Jay super kicks him in the side of the head, lays him out. Mm-hmm. Like, they run this shit, dude. And, it makes you wonder, maybe if Bryan had a partner, a certain rated R superstar, maybe that wouldn't happen. Let's find out at Fastlane. So I'm definitely thinking, it's gonna be the fucking tag match. But
listen to you.
Yeah. Aren't I just a stinker? But yeah.
Oh my God. He actually called himself a stinker. Jesus Christ.
But yeah, that's Fastlane. It's not looking too bad. Or at least the main event, I should say, Fastlane main event tag match. It's really looking likely to me at this point. Because Roman and Jay, they really emphasize the numbers that they have. Yeah. And so we'll see though. SmackDown gonna be like, aha, but you never considered this possibility. And I'm like, no, I didn't. Yeah, exactly. All right, so with that said, that's SmackDown. Let's get into our next segment, high spots and low shots. I'm going to say my low shot's Rey Mysterio. Literally, how you breathing, asshole? Because I'm guessing after that splash, not too well. Maybe make better life choices. Should have looked both ways.
I like how you get the cathartic low shot, and I get the depressing one, Liv Morgan.
Oof. Yeah, oof.
That's what I was saying during and after that match, too.
My high... Do I want to be me right now? Yes.
I mean, do you ever not want to be you? Because I'd say probably.
I'm going to say my high spot's Jey Uso. Because even though he didn't win a match, he didn't lose it either. And he kept Bryan out of the title picture, which means he's not.
And more importantly, he kept Roman happy.
Exactly. Like, when you're not getting beat by Roman on the tour bus, it's a good fucking time. So Jey Uso's my high spot. You're learning, Jay. Great job.
I love it. So good. My high spot is Cesaro. He had an amazing showing, even though he didn't actually have a match. He looked like a star. That is, I think, the big thing that I'm excited for. It really feels like Seth wants to make Cesaro with this feud. And if anyone can do it, I really think Seth can.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. Cesaro.
Dude, did you see the way that Seth sold that Cesaro uppercut? Holy shit.
Yeah, dude. The matches are going to be stellar, I think.
I know, yeah. I'm beyond stoked for us to get some more interactions between these two and to get some actual matches between these two.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. It's going to be so much fun. I'm strapped in. I'm ready for this shit. All right, guys. With that said, this has been TWitWoW, or this has been Smackdown. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my coordinate commentary, Ashton. Guys, be sure to like the videos you file out. The more likes you leave, the more likely we are to be the top search result for SmackDown reviews on YouTube. And when you're the best at what you do, the top is the only place that you belong, so please leave that like. Click the bell icon for notifications and subscribe so you never get miss any of that TWitWoW goodness. Check out everything we're involved in the description box, specifically our Twitter handles and our TWitWoW Patreon. I'm obviously at John_TWitWoW. Ashton's at Ashton_TWitWoW. His pinned tweet is the TWitWoW schedule for the month. My pinned tweet is to collect Q&A questions. Next Q&A is March 25th. So you've got plenty of time to submit questions, but that doesn't mean you should be lackadaisical about it. Get them in now. Non-Patreon donors get 3 Q&A questions. If you donate to the Patreon $1, you get 2 additional Q&A questions for a total of 5. If you donate $3 to the TWitWoW Patreon, you also get access to our Discord. We do Among Us Mondays now because we're cool like that. And it's a great place to submit your Q&A questions and just talk to people. We've got a very friendly community going on, so be sure to be a part of it. And with that said, I'm only just going to finish out the month because, then we'll begin March and we'll do that. The rest of this week, we got nothing tomorrow, and Castle Attack coverage got even shorter because fuck that Junior Heavyweight title match. We love you, Hiramu. Get well soon. But we are going to still be live reacting to the Never Openweight Championship match. Tanahashi facing the Great Okan, and the IWGP Intercontinental Championship match, Ibushi versus Naito. And that's going to be at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So, on Sunday, that is. So you guys can join us Sunday for that. And yeah, that's all we've got for the rest of the month. And then begins March. And, we've got more New Japan stuff, more Stardom stuff. Obviously, the big Stardom thing will be the Budokan show whenever we're able to live react to that. And Fastlane on the WWE side. So yeah, a lot of stuff happening in March. Should be a good month. But this is how we're rounding out February. So join us Sunday at 7. Castle Attack, 2 championship matches, Never Openweight and IC title. And until then, guys, be good to yourselves, be good to each other. Tune in. Peace out.